where some of these suspected cartel gunmen from Mexico are firing their weapons towards our agents.
The crisis at the US-Mexico border continues to get worse each passing day. Shocking videos of illegal immigrants trying to make their way through barbed wire have gone viral on the internet, and now troops are having to battle it out with cartel members that the Texas governor has decided to build a new army base at the border to help deal with the attacks. So, what is going on at the southern border? Cartels at the border.
What we're hearing over there, according to our Border Patrol experts, those are cartel members who are actually shouting. So they're getting ready to smuggle some more folks across.
And across the river, we can hear the sounds of cartel members taunting us, yelling at us.
Those are GOP senators at the border who went to witness firsthand the dire situation at the US-Mexico border. Well, the crisis forced the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, to take matters into his own hands, launching Operation Lone Star, joint operation between the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas Military Department along the United States-Mexico border in southern Texas. From countering illegal immigration and the illegal drug trade to combating human smuggling, Operation Lone Star has made headlines since its inception in 2021. But what lies beneath the surface? It all began in 2021 when the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas Military Department joined forces to launch Operation Lone Star. This ambitious endeavor aimed to tackle the pressing issues of illegal immigration, the illegal drug trade, and human smuggling along the United States-Mexico border in southern Texas. Little did anyone know the shocking twists and turns that awaited them. As the operation kicked off, the Texas-Mexico border became a battleground, with law enforcement agencies working tirelessly to secure the region. Migrant apprehensions soared, criminal arrests multiplied, and seizures of fentanyl sent shockwaves through the nation. Operation Lone Star was making its mark, but at what cost? The operation's primary objective was to counter illegal immigration, a problem that had plagued the border region for years. With migrant apprehensions rising by a staggering 278% between fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021, it was clear that a new approach was needed. Operation Lone Star promised to be the answer, but as the operation gained momentum, controversy began to swirl. Reports emerged of migrants being denied access to water and pushed back into the treacherous waters of the Rio Grande. These allegations sent shockwaves through the nation, raising questions about the treatment of those seeking a better life. There were also reports of armed cartel members taunting the Border Patrol agents.
This as a shocking photo shows armed cartel members taunting law enforcement.
Tragically, high-speed pursuits in counties implementing Operation Lone Star resulted in deaths and injuries. While the operation aimed to maintain law and order, the pursuit of justice came at a devastating cost. These incidents sparked a heated debate about the methods employed by law enforcement agencies involved in the operation. As the operation unfolded, it inadvertently triggered a migrant crisis in sanctuary cities across the United States. Thousands of migrants, unable to find refuge in Texas, were voluntarily buzzed to cities nationwide. This sudden influx of individuals stretched local resources to their limits and forced emergency measures to be implemented. The busing program, while intended to alleviate the burden on Texas, became a lightning rod for controversy. Democratic-led cities, facing resource shortages, resorted to paying for migrants' tickets to other places. This practice further fueled the already intense political divide surrounding Operation Lone Star. The tension between Texas and the federal government escalated, with the Biden administration warning of potential action if Texas did not stop blocking federal agents from the U.S. border area. Governor Greg Abbott, a staunch advocate for border security, signed a bill making illegal immigration a state crime, further intensifying the battle. In response to the crisis, Governor Abbott took decisive action to secure the border. The construction of a border wall and the deployment of the Texas Tactical Border Force became key components of his strategy. These measures aimed to fortify the border and send a strong message to those attempting to cross illegally. However, Governor Abbott's actions faced legal challenges. Lawsuits were filed regarding the construction of barriers in the Rio Grande and the use of razor wire. These legal battles highlighted the contentious nature of the operation and its impact on the rights of migrants. The Texas National Guard, a crucial component of Operation Lone Star, also faced its own set of challenges. Reports emerged of pay delays, poor living conditions, and even suicides among service members involved in the operation. These distressing revelations shed light on the toll that this operation has taken on those tasked with its execution. Despite the controversies and hardships, a majority of Texans have expressed their support for the increased law enforcement deployments and border spending. Operation Lone Star has become a rallying cry for those who believe in the importance of protecting the state's borders and upholding the rule of law. As the migrant crisis continues to unfold, the impact of Operation Lone Star on migrants, law enforcement, and local communities cannot be ignored. The truth about this operation is a complex and multifaceted story, filled with shocking facts and contentious issues. Soon, Republican governors joined Texas in securing the border amidst absence from the Biden administration. At the request of Governor Abbott, Republican governors started sending in their National Guard to Texas. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee was the first to send Texas help.
Today, Governor Bill Lee authorized the deployment of Tennessee National Guard troops to the country's southern border. 100 troops will deploy later this month. It's a response to a request from Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Governor Bill Lee authorized 100 Tennessee National Guard troops to deploy to the U.S.-Mexico border back in May 2023. The deployment comes after the end of Title 42, a pandemic-era policy that allowed authorities to turn away migrants in the name of protecting public health. America continues to face an unprecedented border crisis that threatens our nation's security and the safety of Tennesseans, the governor said in a statement. The federal government owes Americans a plan to secure our country, and in the meantime, states continue to answer this important call to service. I am again authorizing the Tennessee National Guard to help secure the southern border, and I commend these troops for providing critical support. The troops helped provide patrol support, help place barriers and staff outposts along the southern border. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders followed Tennessee Governor Bill Lee's lead in sending her National Guard to the border.
Dozens of Arkansas National Guardsmen are making their way to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Yeah, they'll spend the next month helping the Texas National Guard in controlling immigration.
Arkansas Gov. Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced Thursday that she's sending 80 guardsmen to the Texas border to help prevent border crossings. In a press release, Sanders gave this statement: President Biden's failure at our southern border puts the entire country at risk. States must now step up where the president has failed to repel illegals, fight the cartels, and stop human and drug trafficking. Per the release, the Arkansas team was tasked with working with the Texas National Guard to combat illegal immigration, drug trafficking, and human trafficking. Despite all these efforts by the governors, the situation at the border failed to show any signs of improvement, and the Texas governor was forced to take matters into his own hands.
Texas is blocking federal agents from processing migrants in a public area of Eagle Pass, just a mile away from the U.S.-Mexico border. The move is the latest escalation between the state and federal government over the nation's immigration policy. Texas's Republican Governor Greg Abbott deployed National Guard troops to the park.
On January 11, 2024, when Texas Governor Greg Abbott made a bold move to address the Mexico-United States border crisis. In response to the escalating tensions and the need to secure the border, Governor Abbott signed an emergency declaration to close Shelby Park, a 47-acre area of parkland in the town of Eagle Pass, Texas. This decision would prove to be the spark that ignited the explosive standoff. Abbott's emergency declaration sent shockwaves through the nation as it marked a significant escalation in the ongoing political polarization surrounding immigration policies. The closure of Shelby Park, a strategic location along the Rio Grande River that separates the United States from Mexico, had immediate and far-reaching consequences. The Texas National Guard swiftly took control of Shelby Park, effectively blocking U.S. Border Patrol agents from patrolling the area. This move caught federal authorities off guard and set the stage for a showdown between state and federal powers. The National Guard's presence in the park, which had been used as a holding area for migrants in recent weeks, sent a clear message that Texas was taking matters into its own hands. However, tragedy struck shortly after the closure of Shelby Park. 3 migrants were found drowned in the treacherous waters of the Rio Grande. Mexican authorities identified them as a 33-year-old woman and her 2 young children, aged 10 and 8.
We are learning 3 migrants have died near Shelby Park in Eagle Pass. The Department of Homeland Security confirming just over an hour ago, a woman and 2 children drowned in the Rio Grande River near the park.
The U.S. Border Patrol claimed to have alerted the Texas National Guard about the distressed migrants who were in the waters outside the boat ramp in Shelby Park. Shockingly, the National Guard allegedly took no action to rescue them. Texas lawyers swiftly responded to these claims, arguing that the National Guard was only alerted after the tragic incident and that they had not spotted any migrants in distress. The blame game between state and federal authorities intensified, with Mexican authorities clarifying that the boat carrying the migrants had never entered U.S. territory. The drowning of these innocent lives added fuel to the already raging fire of the border crisis. As tensions escalated, the Supreme Court of the United States entered the fray. On January 22nd, the court issued an order to vacate an injunction that had prevented Border Patrol agents from cutting concertina wire.
The Supreme Court ruling in favor of removing sharp razor wire installed by Texas and rivers along the border between U.S. and Mexico. The 5-4 vote now clears the way for federal agents to actually cut down the wire, which administration officials have called dangerous and inhumane.
This wire had been used by the National Guard to construct a fence in Shelby Park. However, the court's ruling did not address Texas's deployment of razor wire or their blocking of federal officials from the park. The legal battle surrounding the use of these barriers added another layer of complexity to the standoff. Governor Abbott wasted no time in responding to the court's ruling. On January 24th, he defiantly declared that Texas would refuse to grant federal authorities access to Shelby Park, vowing to protect the sovereignty of the state. This bold statement sent shockwaves through the nation, as it marked a direct challenge to federal authority and raised concerns about the potential constitutional crisis that could unfold. The Biden administration has repeatedly cut wire that Texas installed to stop illegal crossings, opening the floodgates to illegal immigrants. The absence of razor wire and other deterrent strategies encourages migrants to make unsafe and illegal crossings between ports of entry, while making the job of Texas National Guard soldiers and DPS troopers more dangerous and difficult, a spokesperson for Governor Abbott said in a statement. This case is ongoing, and Governor Abbott will continue fighting to defend Texas's property and its constitutional authority to secure the border. The standoff at Eagle Pass has quickly become a lightning rod for political divisions across the country. In the aftermath of the Supreme Court's decision, 25 Republican state governors, with the exception of Vermont's Phil Scott, announced their support for Texas in the dispute. Even U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson voiced his support for Texas, further fueling the flames of this high-stakes battle. As the standoff continues, the eyes of the nation remain fixed on Eagle Pass. The outcome of this gripping saga will have far-reaching implications for immigration policies, state-federal relations, and the future of border security. Will Texas maintain control of Shelby Park, or will federal authorities regain access? Troops at the border.
Well, more than 20 Republican governors now supporting Texas as Governor Abbott declares the border crisis an invasion and invokes the state's constitutional right to self-defense.
As the standoff continued, President Biden faced increased pressure from Democrats to federalize the Texas National Guard after Governor Abbott openly defied the Supreme Court's orders. So, the Texas governor sought help from his fellow GOP governors who have since decided to stand side by side with Texas in protecting the country's borders. But before asking for their help, he wanted to show them how bad the situation was at the southern border.
There was a show of support at the southern border today where Governor Abbott hosted 13 other Republican governors to show them what the state is doing to stop the record number of migrants crossing the southern border. Texas is locked, of course, in a legal battle with the White House over this strategy.
In response to this escalating situation, Governor Greg Abbott took the initiative to invite 13 other Republican governors to witness the challenges firsthand. Their visit aimed to shed light on the urgent need for effective border security measures. Governor Greg Abbott, a staunch advocate for border security, expressed his gratitude for the support from fellow governors. Their presence signified a united front in addressing the border security crisis. These governors firmly believe that the federal government, under President Joe Biden's administration, has failed to effectively secure the southern border. Their visit to Eagle Pass serves as a powerful statement of their commitment to addressing this critical issue. During their visit, the governors had the opportunity to witness firsthand the challenges faced by Border Patrol agents and the impact of illegal immigration and drug trafficking on local communities. They observed the porous nature of the border and the need for immediate action. We have taken steps to ensure that criminals and drugs are no longer making their way across the border and north into other states. But we need the federal government's support to make a lasting impact. Governor Abbott emphasized that their collective goal is to maintain the constitutional guarantee that states have the ability to defend against any type of imminent danger. Their visit to Eagle Pass is a testament to their determination to protect their states and the nation as a whole. In addition to their visit, a press conference was held, bringing together faith leaders and the Eagle Pass Border Coalition. America Garcia, a member of the coalition, expressed her concern that the situation in her hometown was being blown out of proportion and used for political purposes. The governors, however, assured the community that their visit was not just a political gesture. They pledged to continue providing resources and support to Texas, and they expressed hope that the federal government would step up and take decisive action to secure the border. The visit of the Republican governors to Eagle Pass, Texas, has brought national attention to the border security issue. Their unified message and determination to protect their states have resonated with many Americans. The ongoing debate surrounding border security continues, and the actions taken by these governors will undoubtedly shape the future of this critical issue. Among the first governors to show their support was Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Now the state of Florida is stepping up to help stem the flow of migrants into the United States, and that involves sending hundreds of Florida troops to Texas.
In a shocking turn of events, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis made a bold move by sending a staggering 1,000 guardsmen to Texas amidst a heated border standoff. This unprecedented decision sent shockwaves through the nation as tensions continued to escalate along the southern border. This move has been met with both praise and criticism, with supporters applauding his commitment to border security, while opponents argue that it is an overreach of state power. The deployment of such a substantial number of guardsmen is unprecedented and has left many wondering about the motivations behind this decision. Some speculate that Governor DeSantis is positioning himself as a strong leader in the fight against illegal immigration, potentially boosting his political career on a national stage. However, critics argue that this move is merely a political stunt, aimed at appeasing his conservative base and gaining favor with former President Donald Trump, who has been vocal about the need for stronger border security. They question the necessity of such a large deployment and whether it is a responsible use of taxpayer funds. Regardless of the motivations behind Governor DeSantis' decision, the impact on the ground in Texas cannot be ignored. The guardsmen will be tasked with assisting Border Patrol agents in their efforts to secure the border, providing additional manpower and resources to tackle the influx of migrants. This deployment also raises concerns about the strain it will place on the guardsmen themselves. Many of these individuals are not trained for border security and may face challenges in adapting to their new roles. Additionally, the extended deployment away from their families and regular duties could have long-term consequences for their well-being. But Governor DeSantis was not the only one who made the bold decision to help Texas.
Some members of the Utah National Guard, as well as Utah Highway Patrol, will soon be heading to the Texas border with Mexico.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox made that announcement this morning.
According to a release from the governor's office, Cox's decision was in response to Emergency Management Assistance Compact, requests from the Texas Department of Public Safety and Texas National Guard. On February 26th, the Utah National Guard will send 5 soldiers from the Engineer Battalion to maintain military equipment. 1 sergeant and 4 troopers from the Utah Highway Patrol's Criminal Interdiction Team, which specializes in drug investigations, will also be deployed to the area for 30 days. The state of Indiana also pledged to help Texas in its efforts to secure the border.
The Indiana National Guard is preparing to send troops to the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas next month. Governor Holcomb making that announcement, saying the deployment is effective immediately and will support Texas's ongoing border security mission.
The governor added in a press release that he is sending troops on the recent direct request from Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He took to Twitter where he said, "I am sending 50 Hoosier Guardsmen to the southern border to support the Texas National Guard on their security mission. These soldiers will begin mobilizing for the mission immediately and will arrive in Texas in mid-March. The Indiana soldiers will be deployed for 10 months. And in an interesting twist, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry has also pledged to send his troops to the border.
Governor Jeff Landry confirming he will send Louisiana Guardsmen to the Texas border.
The governor will send 150 Louisiana National Guard members to assist Texas with securing its border with Mexico and in its power struggle with the federal government. What the president has done is basically dog whistle to those who are trying to come to the country illegally. If you just swim across the Rio Grande, we'll let you in that way, Landry said at a Capitol News conference. Louisiana National Guard troops will not be engaged in detaining migrants, Brig. General Michael Greer said. but they will provide support to border operations. Their duties will be similar to those undertaken during hurricanes, including administrative tasks, driving vehicles, and manning checkpoints. To support the huge number of troops streaming into Texas, Governor Abbott announced that he would build a military base at the southern border.
Governor Abbott announced the state is building a military base camp along the border as it scales up security operations.
The governor says it'll make life better for the state's National Guard soldiers, but it'll also be used to expand razor wire, which the state has deployed despite pushback from the federal government.
Governor Greg Abbott, known for his strong stance on border security, has unveiled his most audacious plan yet: the construction of a massive military base camp on the Texas border. This 80-acre facility, located in the town of Eagle Pass, will serve as a stronghold against the relentless tide of migrants crossing into the state. The decision to build this military base camp comes at a time when Texas is grappling with an unprecedented surge in illegal border crossings. Thousands of migrants, desperate for a better life, have been making the treacherous journey across the border, overwhelming local authorities and straining resources. Governor Abbott, determined to protect the sovereignty of his state, has taken matters into his own hands. The construction of this base camp marks a significant escalation in the battle against illegal immigration. With the capacity to house up to 2,300 soldiers, this fortified facility will act as a strategic hub for border security operations. Equipped with state-of-the-art facilities, including barracks, training grounds, and command centers, the base camp will serve as a symbol of Texas's unwavering commitment to protecting its borders. The entrance to the base camp is fortified with advanced security measures, including biometric scanners, surveillance cameras, and robust perimeter fencing. These measures ensure that only authorized personnel have access to the facility, enhancing overall security and preventing unauthorized entry. The military base camp will serve not only as a deployment site, but also as a training ground for Texas law enforcement personnel. Soldiers will undergo rigorous training programs that focus on border security tactics, intelligence gathering, and response protocols. This comprehensive training equips them with the skills and expertise needed to combat the complex challenges posed by illegal border crossings. But this is not just about bricks and mortar. Governor Abbott's plan goes beyond the physical infrastructure. He aims to amass a large army of dedicated soldiers who will be on the front lines, defending the state against the influx of migrants. This army will be trained to handle the unique challenges posed by the border region, ensuring that Texas remains secure. This will increase the ability for a larger number of Texas Military Department personnel in Eagle Pass to operate more effectively and more efficiently. Mr. Abbott said in his announcement, the construction of the military base camp is set to begin immediately, with workers already breaking ground on the site. The project is expected to create jobs and stimulate the local economy, providing a much-needed boost to the community of Eagle Pass. But the significance of this endeavor extends far beyond economic benefits. The camp, which will include a 700-seat dining facility, a gym, a laundry and medical services, will save on hotel costs for the existing deployment, and it will presumably make way for additional states that are sending troops to help patrol the border as part of a widening rift between Republican governors and the federal government over border enforcement. As construction progresses on the new military base camp, the eyes of the nation are fixed on Texas. Will this bold move by Governor Abbott prove to be an effective solution to the ongoing immigration crisis, or will it deepen the divide between those who support strong border security and those who advocate for a more compassionate approach? Only time will tell. If you enjoyed this video, click on the boxes playing on your screen to watch similar content.